Next, we have the privilege of bringing back a speaker from yesterday who touched all of us with his personal experiences with Swami. I'm talking about Brother Leonardo Gutter. Mr. Leonardo Gutter is a psychologist, and he's been serving in the Sri Sathya Sai International Organization for over 4 decades. He's had so many personal experiences with Bhagawan. He was instrumental in the development and current presence of the SSSIO in Latin America. He was the former chairman of Zone 2, which is Latin America, and he's a founding member of the Sri Sathya Sai Trust in Argentina. He's a member of Prashanti Council, director of the Sri Sathya Sai World Foundation, co-chair of the Intellectual Property Committee, and he represents also some of the largest American, European, and Japanese cinema studios in Latin America. I was also just made aware of today by my co-MC that in Latin America, Brother Leonardo is referred to as suertudo, which translates to the lucky one. I'm not exactly sure the origins of this name. Maybe he can provide some context, but I was taken aback and it seemed very interesting. It must be cool to have a nickname. So without further delay, let's welcome Brother Leonardo. Down.
Om Sri Sai Ram. I offer my humble pranams at the divine lotus feet of our beloved Lord, our Master, our Guru, our Father, our Mother, our everything, Bhagawan Sri Sathya Sai Baba. As I said yesterday, He's here now. Believe me, He's here now. He's permeating everything. He's in the heart of each one of us, and His presence is filling our hearts with love. This is a family meeting. This is a family meeting because we are all brothers and sisters, united by a bond stronger than the blood bond. We are united by the love of Sai. We have been brought here by Him. Yesterday I said that we have 2 legs. Which are these 2 legs? One is to work more intensely for our awakening, which is the real purpose of our life, to awake. The scripture says that we have to march on till we reach the goal and not stop till that moment. And the other leg is to help as many people as possible in their spiritual awakening. We cannot be selfish and work only for ourselves. We have to do both things. If we only work for our own awakening, we will never reach the goal. You will say, you haven't done enough. So we must realize that we must do both things. When I go back to Argentina, I will reach there on July 2nd, I think. On July 5th, I have to go to Mendoza, near Chile, for a public meeting. Yesterday, I was invited to go to a public meeting in Panama. Dr. Reddy and Anupam went to Peru. In 4 days, they have 4 public meetings. Nothing is impossible. In Latin America, some years ago, we had 108 public meetings in 2 years. And in those meetings were so big, auditoriums bigger than this for 2,000 people. And I remember I had to ask the people, please raise the hands of the Sai devotees. And when they rose their hands, I told them, please go out, because there were 300 people outside that couldn't come in. So Swami is with us. He's expecting us to do our part. He brought us here to help us to become better instrument in His mission, to give us more determination and perseverance to spread His message, but not like parrots, that by rote we repeat His words, by our way of being, by our joy, by our enthusiasm, which means to be possessed by God, by the way we realize that every person with whom we interact is Sai. It's just another form, another name. Swami is disguised in that person. When we realize this will divinize our lives. Swami wants us to divinize our thoughts, words, and deeds. How? remembering all the time his omnipresence. The theme of my talk is I will never disappoint my devotees. So I will continue with what I told you yesterday, my first trip to India. I left the guru of the other organization. I left to see Swami, and miracles started to happen. The first meeting, the first day, Swami was supposed to go to Sundaram. I went there. There were 50,000 people. No one knew when Swami was coming. And suddenly, my heart started to beat. I thought, what is happening to me? At that moment, Swami's car came in. From that day, every day, I knew when Swami was coming out for darshan because a couple of seconds before, my heart started to beat. And also, always I say that my heart recognized him much earlier than my mind. Then Swami came for darshan, and I was sitting. There were no foreign devotees at that time, almost, I think, almost none other than myself. They seated me on the first row. And Swami came and raised the flag, and a lot of flowers fell on him and on me. And my first reaction to Swami was to tell him, Swami, I want to see you. And at that moment, Swami looked at me, and in my mind, he didn't open his mouth, but in my mind, I heard his voice saying, but you are seeing me now. It was a telepathic communication. I had two with Swami. And I was like this. I said, no, an interview. And he smiled and left. Well, when you are there, as I told you yesterday, I was receiving every day Panamaskar, Vibhuti. He was signing photographs, everything. What I wanted was to have an interview with him. And then came the day, 30 days after my first darshan, when I realized I was overwhelmed by the love of Swami, by feeling he's the avatar, the Purna avatar. I have to surrender completely to him. And I wrote, as I said yesterday in my room, my resignation to the position I had. In the morning he came, and instead of his usual darshan, he came to me and he said, listen his words. He said, yes, I will see you. What did I ask him the first time? Swami, I want to see you. And his reply was, yes, I will see you. This afternoon I will see you. He was waiting for me to surrender to him. So I thought after darshan that I could go to the veranda waiting for the afternoon darshan to have the interview. At that time, there were no sevas, but one who was supposed to be a seva told me, no, it's not like that. You have to go to your room, come in the afternoon, and if he wants, he will call you. I thought that person didn't like my face. And he was spoiling my divine opportunity of my first interview with God. I went back to my room, and I thought, he will not remember, he will not find me. All these thoughts came to my mind. I was like Arjuna, disappointed. I don't know, the word is dejected. I don't know the English word. But I went to darshan and I got the third or fourth row that at that time was not so close, thinking he will not find me. That's it. He came out and from the veranda, he didn't look for me. He just raised his head, looked straight to me and he said, you. And I stood up and went running to him and said, yes. And he said, go. The most beautiful word in Swami's mouth. And I asked him, there was some other Argentinian, I asked him if I could invite him also. He said, yes. And in the interview room, he spoke with all of us. And suddenly he approached his face to me and he said, all that I thought since the morning. Everything I thought, that he was not going to find me, he was not going to remember, everything. And then he came closer and closer and almost whispered in my ear. He said, I will never disappoint my devotees. And this divine promise is not just for me. He says, my devotees. It's for all of us. He will never disappoint us. My native language is Spanish. My understanding of English is not so good. But for me, disappointment is not just disappointment that you will be sad. It's an appointment. He will never fault the appointment with us. It's up to us to be there for him. He said yes to us. Now is our time to say yes to him. You know, we need Swami so many times and we ask him, and I will share a story about how to pray to God. We ask him, and he's there. Why? Because he's 24/7 with us. omnipresence. We need to be 24/7 with Him. This is to be ready for the appointment with Him. We have to remember Him all the time. We have to apply His teachings in our lives. We have to have this constant integrated awareness of His presence. If we have this, then we will live in the right way and we will be in the appointment with Him. I don't know the time. I have plenty of time. I was going to speak about many things, but my brother Narendra spoke most of what I was going to say. So Swami gave me the message to share more experiences. I told you just now that one important thing is how we need to pray to Him, right? Many times in our lives, we have to go through situations where we don't have solutions and we pray. We know that He is the only solution. So he says that the right way of praying, of asking Him something, is the following. Remember this. Two things. We have to pray with such intensity that either we give up or He cannot listen to us anymore and He gives up. One of the both has to be tired first. Is it clear in English? Alex is my personal translator. So one day I was traveling to 7 Latin American countries to attend public meetings and to also participate in the selection of the coordinating committees. And then I had to go to United States for my business. So I bought a ticket with American Airlines. My first destination was Colombia, Bogota. And I left Buenos Aires. I made the stopover in Miami, and I arrived at Miami at 4, 5 a.m., 6 a.m., I think 5 a.m. My plane to Colombia, to Bogota, was at 4 p.m. Imagine at the airport all those hours I wait. I went to the prayer room to meditate. I had breakfast. I read. I slept. I went to a store, to another store. You know, Miami airport is very big, different concourses. So I went to one place to the other, slept there. It was an eternity. By 2 p.m., I decided to go to check-in. I have a bag, and inside that bag, I have, at that time, the tickets were not like now, electronic, were papers. And the travel agency gave us a plastic purse, and inside the tickets. And in that purse, I put not only my tickets, but my passport, my credit card, my money. Everything was there. So when I went to check in, I put my hand in the bag, and the purse was not there. I had it because I had to, when I came, I went through immigration, and I went to buy some things, breakfast, so I had it, but it was not there. I became crazy because without your passport, you cannot continue your trip. The embassy will give you a temporary passport to go back. And everything was arranged, all the public meetings with the posters with my name and all the selection of coordinating committees was a complete disaster. And I started running like crazy to all the places I remember I was. And then I went to Lost and Found, nothing. And I thought, well, if someone found it with $2,000 inside, he said, thank you, God, for this present, and left in one plane that leaves Miami airport every minute, I don't know. So I remember how to pray to Him. And I said, I have to pray to Him with this intensity. And I couldn't sit in a chair. So I went to the most private place I found, a bathroom. The first bathroom I went inside, I sat on the toilet, closed the door, and I started praying to Him. Swami, please, Swami, please, Swami, please. Not aloud, because someone were going to think that there was a crazy man inside and call the police. But mentally it was, Swami, please, Swami, please, Swami, please. I was 40 or 45 minutes, Swami, please, till I couldn't repeat one more. I always say the same thing. If you came with a gun and said one more, I would say, shoot. I had no more energy. I just gave up. So I stood up, left the bathroom, and as I left this restroom, at the exit door, I turned, and a lady, 2 meters from me, 3 meters, 6 feet, was standing looking straight to me and raised her hand with my purse and said, sir, is this yours? And I looked at her, went there, took the purse, my monkey mind look inside. Of course, everything was inside. I raised my head. It took me 2 to 3 seconds to do this, and up. The lady was vanished. Even if she was Usain Bolt, the runner, she couldn't run. You know, everywhere, she just vanished in the thin air. This is Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba answering to our prayers. So, dear brothers and sisters, we have to realize how fortunate, how lucky we are, how suertudo. Suertudo is the Spanish word for lucky. We have a blessed karma that we have earned through so many lives. So the intense effort, the sadhana we have done gave us the opportunity to be born, as I said yesterday, at this lifetime and having the Purna Avatar as our guru. So Brother Suresh always tells about the finitude. Finitude? Alex, is that an English word? Finitude? No. Okay, that we are going to die. This is very easy, right? I always give a practical. Swami, when I travel, when I have time, I share like 30 or 40 practical spiritual disciplines that I learned from Swami and 45 experiences I had with him. One of them is to remember every day, when I wake up after kissing Swami, I read something, some spiritual book, something about Swami. I do the same before going to sleep. And I always tell that we have to, when we wake up, remember one important thing, that we are going to die. For a spiritual aspirant, it's very important. Remember that this is not eternal, that this body will fade, will disappear. But after thinking about that with intensity, till you cry, till you become sad and say, oh, I'm going to cry, to die, then you remember another thing, not yet. So we have to take advantage of this not yet time. This is to live properly, because if not, we are like robots. We wake up, we eat, we work, we go back to sleep, and one day we die. Swami didn't give us the life for that purpose. He gave us this life to realize that we are the Atma, to recognize that who we really are. So all our real efforts should be centered on that point. All the other things, we should take them as ancillaries, as secondary things. We must do it, we must work, we must interact with the world. But remembering all the time, which is my most important goal, to wake up. So, dear brothers and sisters, I think that Swami brought us here to train us to be better instruments in his divine mission, to give us the inspiration and the determination to put into practice in our lives his teachings, and to teach us how to share them, how to share this teaching as much as possible with as many people as possible. As I have 8 more minutes, I will share another experience, if you don't mind. I will tell you one that I spoke about Swami, and I heard the comment that Swami made. Swami one day, as I said, I don't know if I tell you this before, there was the end of the World Conference, and Swami was supposed to speak, but suddenly he called me. And I went to him and said, yes, Swami. And he told me, you speak today, I will speak tomorrow. And I said, what should I say? And he told me, speak about your experiences. So my duty is to speak about his experiences, the experiences he gave me. And your patients, especially Narendra, who heard them so many times. And his karma is that he has an incredible memory. I never found a person with such a memory. So he could come here and tell you my experiences better than myself. So this experience is a lesson for me. It's a little long, but I have time. On my 4th trip, when I came back from my first trip to India, well, it came another experience. Another beautiful experiences came that show his divinity. But I was overwhelmed, as I said before. I wanted to share. Imagine 2,000 years ago, you were with Jesus, you came back from Palestine, and you want to tell everybody, hey, listen, in Palestine, there is Jesus. The same happened to me. I went everywhere in Argentina. I traveled 800 kilometers to speak with 2 people that attend the meeting. But I felt I had to share that the Purna Avatar is here, and especially his teachings. He's telling us what is life? What is the purpose of life? How we can achieve this purpose? So, but one day I was walking to my room in the ashram, and suddenly a thought came to my mind. But are you the Purna Avatar? Are you Parabrahman, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva? This is exactly what I thought. And I went to my room, and I felt very bad, because I thought I cannot speak about his divinity if I'm not 100% convinced. If I have just one doubt, I cannot do it. So I thought, who put this doubt in my mind? And I said, you, Swami. Who will solve this doubt? You, Swami. And I thought, how can you solve this? I will give you a test. And it came again to my mind. Okay, I said, if you materialize a watch for me, I will believe that you are Parabrahman. Why did I ask him for a watch? For two reasons. I had a watch that I bought in the United States, beautiful, very slim, but was hand-wound, and always was slow or fast, rarely on time. And I always wanted to change it, but I was attached to it because I like it very much. And also in the interviews I had, I saw him materialize many things, but never a watch. So I thought, if you make me a watch, I will use it. That's it. In the night, after I had this thought, I took a shower, went to sleep, and I left my watch near my mattress. I'm a little obsessive. I remember how I left it. And in the night, I had a dream with him. And he came and told me all what happened to me with that watch, that I like it, I wanted to change it, I didn't change it, all what I have just told you. And suddenly he told me, I will solve your problem. Your watch disappeared. It was so vivid, so strong that I woke up. And the first thing I did was to stretch my hand looking for the watch. It was not there. I stood up, turned on the lights. The watch was not there. My heart started to beat like I was challenging him, and now he's punishing me because I dared to challenge him. In the morning, now comes the side humor. In the morning, Swami called me for an interview. In the interview, he spoke with everybody, and suddenly he looked at me, a watch, and came to me. And my heart was, my God. But then the hand continued its way and gave it to a student who was behind me. So Swami wanted to prove the strength of my heart. 20 days later, my last day in the ashram, I was leaving after darshan. He came. When he passed by my side, he looked at me. You know, many times he said, when are you leaving? That time I said, at what time are you leaving? And I said, after darshan, Swami. And he replied, first go, interview. So I went to the interview room with a group of people. He spoke to us, and suddenly he looked at me and he raised my sleeve and said, what time do you have? You know, he knows he's the time. So why he's asking? So I said, no. And he stopped me. And he put the same face than in the dream, the same face, the same expression, the same tone of voice. And he said, I know, your watch disappeared. Exactly as he said in the dream, the exact words. And I was like surprised. Then he continued to speak. And then he told me, how is your mad monkey mind? And when he said that, in psychology, you said an insight. An insight is when you realize something in an instant, in a second, in a split of a second. I realized that my mind was in the height of faith, in the abyss of doubt. And I replied to him, very bad, Swami. And he said, no, it's not so bad. A watch. And this time he put it on my wrist. And then he put his finger on his eyebrow here. And he was thinking for a moment, and he said, I will give a special power to your watch. Whenever you will have a bad thought, it will stop. And then he told me to cover the watch, because he told me the people will look at it and will have envy, cover it. And then he continued the interview. But after a while, I look at it again. I was stopped. And I screamed. I said, Swami, stop. And he started laughing. I said, yes, I know that he stopped. And he told me all what I had thought, exactly what I had thought, that I will not share to you. And you know, the watch was alive, because if anything happened to me, the date of the watch will jump to the number 23, which for me is another way where Swami shows me his presence. I had many experiences with the number 23. If you give me 20 more minutes, I will share them. But some years later, Swami in an interview told me, I will remove you, I will remove you, I will remove you. I didn't dare to ask him why, kept quiet. Then when I came back to Argentina, within 5 days, I had 3 major removals, in 2 of which I could have died. In one, the first one, a band of robbers went into the house, destroyed everything, left. We were not there by Swami's grace. With bananas, they wrote threats on the walls. They stole everything and the watch that I have left there. On my next trip, well, each one of these removals is a divine experience with the divine protection that is really amazing. You know, he let me know that I had to go through 3 important karmas. But on my next trip to India, I asked him about the watch. I said, Swami, my watch. And he said, yes, I will. I know. I said, can you give it back to me? And he said, first you do your duty, then I will give it back to you. So at that time, I didn't know what was my duty. So in another trip to United States, as I needed a watch, I bought a Rolex. I always wanted a Rolex, and I said, okay, if I die, I will not want to be reborn just for a Rolex. So I bought it. So 2 years later, I went to see a company in Argentina, Wednesday, 5 p.m. daytime. When I ended my meeting, I went to the parking to get my car. And like 50 meters before the parking, someone got hold of my hand and with the other hand stole my watch. It was a 14, 15 years old boy. And I started chasing him, running after him. But another was waiting for him in a motorcycle. He jumped on the motorcycle and left. I was standing on the street thinking, what karma I have with watches? First the one Swami gave me and now the Rolex. What could I do? I know. I would take 1 more minute. So, because I need to finish the story, right? So what happened is that I went back to my house, and next day, Thursday morning, before I go to work, I have in my house 1 floor that in every house is a playroom. In my house is my altar. I have the place where I do meditation and all Swami's pictures. So I went there to do my meditation, and when I was finishing it, I thought about the watch stolen the day before. And I said, Swami, you are omnipotent. You can give it back to me. And then I said, how stupid I am. I have to ask you for more important things, not for a watch. Sorry, Swami. I said, forgive me for asking you this. And I chant Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti Hi. When I said the last Shanti Hi, I heard the lady that worked in my house screaming, sir, your watch, your watch. I told her the day before that my watch was stolen. She came with my Rolex in her hand. What happened? Her boyfriend, who was living in the house, he was going to leave, but suddenly he remembered that he wanted something, turned and kicked una regadera. ¿Cómo decís? Some metal thing to water the plants. He heard the sound, and inside was my watch. Realized it, where he materialized it, to water my faith. And this is Swami, this is Bhagavan Sri Sathya Sai Baba, who is always with us, who will be always with us. Let's us be always for him. I hope and I wish and I pray that all of us will be each day nearer and dearer to his divine lotus feet, that we will become pure channels of his divine love. And I don't want to finish without congratulating Brother Sambashiva Rao and all the people that work with him to make this a Sai excellent and perfect conference. Congratulations, brother. Thank you very much. Jai Sai Ram.